When something small goes wrong, does your brain suddenly turn it into evidence that you are fundamentally failing at life?
Missing one appointment and immediately I'm totally irresponsible.
Obviously. Or you can't start a task that should take like 10 minutes, and somehow your brain decides to land on the reasoning of, well, it's obviously because I'm incapable.
ADHD has this way of making normal human friction, those things we run across in every day. It makes it deeply personal. For a lot of women, the default question becomes, what is wrong with me?
Maybe another approach, if we reframe it, would be what's going on for me right now. This is Angry on the Inside. I'm Jess.
And I'm Jeannine. We're both certified ADHD coaches, but this podcast isn't coaching.
It's not therapy and it's not medical advice.
It's just real, honest conversations about being women with late diagnosed ADHD and everything that goes along with it.
Take what resonates and leave the rest. Today, we're talking about something that can completely change the way you experience your ADHD.
It's that shift from what's wrong with me to what's going on with me.
Would you brand that as subtle? Because emotionally, I think it's pretty huge. A lot of us grew up being told that we were screw ups.
That was my default.
We all learned bad mantras from those around us. Not starting something meant I was lazy, and forgetting something meant I was careless. When I started to get overwhelmed, it meant I was over emotional. And when I struggled to have relationships and friends, I was too sensitive and I needed to not take everything personally.
People often don't see that actual roadblock, right? They only see the outcome. That's where they make all those assumptions about us. And if you were diagnosed later in life, you didn't see those roadblocks either. I think it was easy for us to buy into it.
We grew up with a half-assed understanding of ourselves, but a whole-assed version of what everybody thought we were supposed to be. And so it sort of leaves you looking at this unfinished project that you don't recognize as being unfinished. You recognize it as being broken or needing to be fixed. But a lot of it comes down to the executive dysfunction. Who knew? All the ladies with ED, let's shout it out,
And we're talking about executive dysfunction, not any other type of ED.
right? Though plenty of women do have experience dealing with other people's ED. Anywho,
Moving on.
jump to the self-blame. It's easy for all of us. Even though it's a spectrum disorder, even though our community running joke is if you've met one person with ADHD, you've met one person, we still have so many common denominators that link us together. And this is one of them.
One thing my diagnosis changed for me was realizing I didn't need more self criticism, I actually needed more curiosity about what was really going on.
I didn't understand the word curiosity, and I think it's an amazing word, but I never understood the actual meaning of it until we went through training for coaching, because part of the coaching mindset is to be curious. And I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? I am always curious. I realized it's a little bit more than that to have that relationship with yourself. Part of it's starting to learn to love you, the you that's just you.
When something goes wrong, though, my instinct is still to attack myself. It's a hard habit to break. But, asking what's going on for me creates space and it slows down the spiral enough to back away from this self criticism and investigate what's really happening.
Usually there is a reason. There is something going on.
Exactly.
Well, there are examples. It might be a case in my life, my dopamine may have tanked and the task has no novelty whatsoever. My nervous system could be extremely overloaded. I might be in decision paralysis. I'll be exhausted because I've been masking nonstop. There's a lot of reasons that can pop up. And these are reasons, not excuses. So I just want to make sure that we all know that too. Let's reframe. This is not an excuse. This is a reason.
Maybe your brain the capacity.
Maybe. None of those things mean that anything is wrong with me or you.
ADHD women get trapped because I know I've spent my entire life trying to meet neurotypical expectations, and I'm sure many of you have too.
Not just neurotypical expectations, but these weird ass expectations that are thrust upon us just being women.
God, yes.
Neurotypical, neurodiverse, holistic, autistic, it doesn't matter. We are all getting hit with that same crap. The right way to keep your house, the right way to parent, the right way to stay organized, the right way to function.
And when those systems don't work for us, We assume we failed instead of questioning whether the system even fits our brain in the first place.
It's a knee-jerk reaction. In this space, these are more barriers that we climbed over one too many times and we stopped trying. We figured it's there because it's always going to be there. But a lot of us are trying to change that. If I'm thinking I'm supposed to do it this way, what came at me first? You're supposed to do it this way. I'm supposed to do it this way. Okay. One of the words I hate the most is just. I think just is the most dismissive four-letter word in our language as a whole. And people don't realize how negative that is. I hate to hear. It's just your nervous system. It's just you overreacting. It's just this. Like everything is so simple. If you just changed this one thing, you'd be fine. If you just did this the way I told you, I wouldn't have to talk down to you like you're a dumbass.
Mhm.
I wouldn't have to make you feel stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. If you would just do it the way you're supposed to do it. If you just make a to do list, you'd remember what you were supposed to do.
Ugh, God. According to who? Who are they?
They're the people who tell us how we're supposed to do something. Don't you know that? If we would just follow what they tell us to do, who the fuck are they and why the fuck do we care?
Right? We can identify them if we stop and look, and we will realize that we actually don't give a fuck. Sometimes the answers are so obvious, but we think they're too obvious. The solution is too easy that something can't be basic. But then we hear it spoken out loud, and we're like, oh, that makes total sense. And where I would bring that up is the book, How to Keep House While Drowning. That's a book, I don't want to say it's been a social phenomenon, but I will say it is a big deal and it is worth reading. It's by Casey Davis. I believe she's coming out with or just came out with another book as well. But this is the one that I'm familiar with. This book, it is not written specifically for the neurodiverse community, but it is coded to the neurodiverse community for sure. We aren't able to do direct quotes or anything like that. One of the things that most people who have read about her or read this book or read reviews on this book, one of the more famous quotes is run the dishwasher twice. What do you mean run the dishwasher twice? I've got dirty dishes and I think some of the ones in there are clean, but it's been a few days since I washed them. And now I'm not sure. Should I just leave the dishes in the sink? What do I do? Right? 'Cause this puts me at a pause. I should have emptied the dishwasher and I should have put the new dirty dishes in the emptied out washer. If I just would have taken care of this in the first place, right? I wouldn't be upset and pissed off at myself. And I wouldn't be embarrassed having this shame cycle about the cleanliness of my kitchen. So how do you fix it? You run the dishwasher twice. Throw whatever you've got in there and you leave the other clean shit in there and you run it.
My God, the next year you're going to say is we should run it even though if it's not completely full. Mm,
Oh,
that's
yes.
not allowed. My mom said you had to wait. You have to fill it all the way up before you run it.
If we fill it all up, same shit happens again.
Exactly.
Is that cute little Snoopy magnet on my dishwasher that says dirty and clean? Did I actually flip it over? Who the fuck knows? Really, that's just playing Russian roulette when it's all said and done. If I'm waiting to fill it up, that means my dishes are going to pile up in the sink and they're going to get grody. And you know what's going to happen? I'm going to get overwhelmed because there's going to be a ton of freaking dishes in that dishwasher. And I'm thinking that it should be clean. I should be able to stand there and wash my dishes by hand if my dishwasher is full. If my dishwasher is half full and my sink is completely full, then I have to go through figuring out what pieces will fit into the washer. There are so many steps and so many things involved. But at the end of the day, I'm in a position where I could give two shits if it adds 15 cents onto my water bill. But until I literally listened to a book that said, well, just run the dishwasher twice, it never really occurred to me that a accommodation for myself would be to just push the stupid button on the dishwasher and let it go.
And it works. And the world didn't fall apart.
The world did not fall apart.
I go through spurts where I'm really good about the laundry. put it in the dryer, take it out, it's folded, it's put away. And other times I'll think, gosh, shit, that load's still in the dish in the washing machine.
Mhm.
And you know what? You can run it again.
Yes, and you don't have to feel like a piece of shit about it.
Forgot. Run it again and
So
again. You think about how much ADHD women, how much energy we waste just trying to force ourselves into these systems that were never designed for us.
anything that's on that mental to-do list that we're trying to remember what the heck we're supposed to do, we are taking up so much energy just trying to remember what we're supposed to remember. And this is my house. It's not my mom's house. It's not anybody else's fucking house. I'm allowed to do things the way I want to do them.
Yeah, as long as it gets done.
That's the thing. It doesn't even have to get done. I'm allowed to monitor my energy, have my schlub days, let shit pile up. It's going to happen. There are times where it reaches a point because we are in overwhelm that we need to ask for help. And that's 1,000% okay if you need to ask for help. But it's okay to let it go too and let that shit sit. The whole idea is you got to find out who you are and you got to figure out what's actually you.
What works for you?
If a strategy is working for someone else, that doesn't make it morally superior. It also doesn't make it the absolute best way or only way to do it.
Like, you can say that again. That's great. Good for them. I'm glad it does. Doesn't work for me.
Keep in mind, somebody made up that system because it aligned with their brain. That doesn't mean it aligns with yours. And doesn't really, at the end of the day, mean anything to us, except for more stress and trying to keep up with everybody else. I don't get why we have to keep up with everyone else when the world's not designed for us to keep up.
This might shock you, but something we have never talked about before, even though we are like 40 plus shows in, is how much ADHD advice online is literally just recycled neurotypical productivity advice with for ADHD slapped on it. I feel like I still fall for it though. You'll run across one of those articles that'll be like, finally tackle your time, your ADHD time management.
I totally click on it.
Be more productive during your day and conquer your ADHD. And it'll be have a to-do list and mark it off as you go. Do the hardest thing first, do the hardest thing last. And it's all like, wow, can't believe I never thought of that one before.
You say that with an undertone of sarcasm, but you're still clicking on that shit because in your mind, you're like, if they say I can do this, I should be able to do this. I just need to be able to do this. ADHDers, we hold on to hope. We sit and think that if there's still a chance, if someone says maybe, that's not a no. And so we have to sit here and wait and we have to go and check and we have to just make sure. People also miss the fact that when something comes off of our list, we're not excited about it. There's a short moment of relief because it's one less thing we have to do, but all the things have to get done because they're all equally important, don't you know?
And then what's sad is, again, you read that article and you think, if you just do it, this, and I can want to do something so desperately, but I still may not be able to activate. And then you go back into that cycle of right, beating yourself up again versus going, you know what, this advice probably won't work for me because that's not how my brain is wired. So
Right.
let's find a way that works with my brain and
Exactly.
not a brain that is a neurotypical brain that is, motivated or pays attention to importance.
I mean, the one thing that almost everybody's good at with ADHD is the workaround. And we all have that word in our vocabulary before we get our diagnosis. Oh, well, let's figure out a workaround. What's the workaround? Man, I could play a freaking drinking game with how many times I said that before I was diagnosed, right? The workaround. But what if we sort of reframe that workaround more to the fact that how it would work for us, not how we get it to work the way someone else wants it to work, right? Because I think we are just as intuitive and in a position to do that as the other way around. Because all that shame that sits inside of us, all that shit came from somebody else first, right? And if there's one thing I don't have the energy for, it's to take on shame from somebody else. I'm okay with working on my own personal shit, but if someone else wants to stand there and tell me how it should get done, they need to step to the side because I do not have time for that shit. And not that I get it right every time, but I'm trying real freaking hard. So let's step back and imagine how exhausting it must be to wake up every day already believing you're failing.
Uh, do we really need to imagine? I think we are already living that dream every day.
A huge mindset shift is realizing that the goal isn't to actually defeat your ADHD brain. We aren't looking to beat it into submission. We've already all experienced enough trauma. We do not need that. Maybe the goal is understanding your ADHD intimately enough to understand how you want to work with it.
That mindset, that shift, that really changed so much for me.
Mhm.
I spent just years treating my brain like the enemy, making it have to um, change its ways, if you will. If I could just discipline my brain, it would work better. It would do what I wanted it to do. But that's not how it works.
That's because discipline is one of those words that is so righteously used against our entire community. We're constantly fighting ourselves. And what happens with that when we are constantly fighting ourselves and constantly in that negative mindset, we never actually feel safe inside our own actual life. We're always doubting ourselves. We're always thinking we're doing wrong, assuming we're the culprit. Two things can be true at once. Shit can be going to hell, and it can still be something that couldn't have been stopped.
That's such a good way of putting it. And I never really thought of it in that terms of just not feeling safe inside your own life. Because you're right, there is that constant doubt. You don't trust yourself completely. Um,
It's part of the reason why I'm always in that constant state of fight or flight and I burn out my nervous system. The whole core point of that is that I do not feel safe.
that is why I think just part of the healing process is becoming a student of yourself, understanding how your brain works
Mm.
instead of just obsessing over where you fall short. Make that shift and start noticing where you thrive.
Putting out your own accolades and recognizing your own strengths is not you being a braggart. And I will tell you that that is what I thought. I struggle in taking a compliment. I struggle in uh, accepting the fact that something I've done is good or that I can be comfortable in my own skin. Things that make us not feel safe when we think something's easy because we think there's no way it can be easy. When we take the time to actually adjust our environment to us rather than just tolerating things. People tolerate so much stuff going around them, and then we wonder why we don't have capacity or why we're just fried out. If the buzzing lights over your head in your office drive you freaking insane and you can hear them all day long, it's okay to get some Loops earplugs or to get noise canceling headphones. And if you say, well, my office doesn't allow that, then it's okay to ask them to get the lights changed. And if it's buzzing, it means the ballast is going bad anyway. So let's get maintenance up there to fix that shit. Let's go ahead and stick with the momentum we know how to create for ourselves rather than allowing everybody else's structures to just drain us immediately while we all try to mask and equal out to what everybody's expectations we think they have of us are. I'm so not here for that. I want to love myself. I want to feel safe in my own skin. I feel like I'm not the only one.
I think that is a pretty safe bet.
I think owner's manual is a great way to think of it. I call mine things I know to be true.
There you go. And true to you, not to anyone else, but true to you.
On things I know are true because they're true for me, not for you. Well, I can't remember to do this. I can't remember to feel when things are easier. I can't remember what's going to create momentum. I'm not going to remember these things. It's not about remembering it. It's not. It's about learning to feel what it feels like. And that is a deficit that I think most of us have.
Just that fancy word, but we're just not being true to
All of
ourselves.
it, closing our ears to our inner self and not listening to our own instincts, it's like a repeated attempt at self-sabotage. We all deserve to be happy. We all deserve to feel normal, but normal is our word to define, not for someone else's expectations to create.
For probably decades, I've carried around that belief that my struggles meant something was wrong with me. And maybe you did too. But I think now is the time for all of us to start questioning that goddamn narrative.
Our struggles are a result of lifetimes being spent trying to survive systems that weren't made for us. Even after our ADHD diagnosis, we're still struggling and pushing against the grain of our own realistic expectations and intentions of ourselves. Once you understand your brain's needs, once you're open to hearing that different approach, the real question becomes, what's going on for me?
Yeah. Which is 100% different from something is wrong with me. Curiosity will always get you a hell of a lot further than shame. Until next time, remember, you're not alone and you're not the only one who's angry on the inside.